All right, my friends, welcome back to the Wealth Outside of Wall Street channel, where you learn how to get your money off of Wall Street and retire in 10 years or less. Today, we're going to be reacting to the Financial Tortoise's video on the optimal order for investing your money. And I love this topic and concept. There is an order of wealth. We're going to see if the Financial Tortoise gets it right.
Lines that most people can follow to make sure they're putting their hard-earned money to work in the most optimized way possible. Number one on our list is an emergency fund. Before you put a dime in...
Okay, I'm gonna stop right there. His number one, his first step is building an emergency fund. Now, my friends, I gotta tell you how much I agree with this step. So many people want to go right from I've got a little bit of money to investing it for the highest return possible. But I want you to consider two things. In the game of money, especially if you understand how to play this game, if you can master money, there's only two ways you'll lose. Number one, you'll get knocked out of the game, or number two, you'll quit. Now, you'll quit is really about the motivation that you have, understanding what you're saving for. But number one, the thing that knocks most people out of the game is they don't have an emergency fund. When things don't go according to plan, which happens all the time with money, they have nothing to fall back on. So I love that he's beginning with the boring, simple foundation of having an emergency fund.
It's the stock market or anything else, your first order of business should include building up a reasonable buffer of cash. Store it in a simple checking or savings account. The exact amount will be different for everyone, and much depends on your personal risk tolerance, but I recommend at least 3 to 6 months.
Okay, so interesting there, right? Interesting. He's talking about 3 to 6 months, which I agree with 100%. But I think something that is a little bit nuanced is where you store that capital. If it's in a checking or a savings account, here's the danger. Here's the danger of doing that. Most people who have money in a checking or even a savings account that they're used to getting money in and out of, that money has no purpose, right? It's just, there's money there and I'm gonna spend it. So if you're gonna set up your emergency fund, not if, when, or how you're going to set it up, make sure that you designate the account with a very specific criteria. Now, if you want to keep it in a bank account, it's not the most efficient place for your money, but it is extremely liquid and accessible. But here's what I'd recommend. If you're going to keep your emergency fund in a bank account, set up a separate account and name the account. Title it, just put a simple name on it. I set up my very first emergency fund in an account and I titled the account my Freedom Fund. And my friends, I want you to consider this. Every time I went to access that money for one purpose or another, that money in that account, it literally felt like sacred money. It was money I'd put aside, and I got to ask myself a question. Can I be more resourceful, or do I just lazily tap into the account? Now, don't worry, your emergency fund is literally for emergencies, but put it in a separate place so you have to take a further step before you access that money.
Imagine an emergency fund like bowling guardrails. These bumpers essentially keep your bowling ball from falling into the gutters. They keep you in the game even though you might have launched the ball improperly or your ball started spinning in the wrong direction. Think of an emergency fund like these bowling bumpers. Life will always throw you curveballs and you need to be ready for them at all times.
That's good advice.
For me, a good chunk of my curveballs are most often related to my car. It might have to do with the fact that both my wife and I drove clunkers for the first 10 years of our marriage. One time, my car wouldn't start and the mechanic told me it would cost me close to $4,000 to fix the problem, or I would need to purchase a new car. Now, if I was in a more precarious financial situation and didn't have cash in my bank account, $4,000 could have easily kicked me off the game. According to Bankrate survey, only 39% of respondents said they would be able to cover an unexpected $1,000 expense from their savings.
Where do you fit?
Most often, people don't have a choice but use credit cards to cover the shortfall, and it sends them into deeper financial hole. In our journey to debt paydown, investing, or financial independence, there will always be curveballs. But enough cash in our emergency fund will ensure that we don't get derailed and help us stay on track towards our financial.
Well, honestly, I'm gonna say I love his first step for sure. Remember the 2 rules. You're only gonna lose if you get knocked out or if you quit, and an emergency fund is there to secure that you don't quit the game or ultimately get knocked out.
Number 2 on our list is a 401k employer match. If you work for an
Okay, now step number 2, my friends. If you've been watching any of the videos on this channel, you know that I do not believe the 401k is the best way. In fact, I believe it's probably one of the worst ways to building wealth and to achieving financial freedom. So the fact that step number 2 is max your 401k, I know I'm gonna have a problem with this. I'm just gonna preface it.
employer that offers matching 401k contributions, this should be your first and main priority. Before you do anything else, take full advantage of your employer's matching contributions. Why? Because 401k match provides an instant, guaranteed 100% return on your investment.
Okay, That is such a myth. That is such a misunderstanding. I've got another video where I actually break down this myth. Go check that video out. But look, here's the reality. It's not 100% free return. In that first year, you're getting a dollar for dollar match. But now what you've done is you've just locked your money into an account that has massive strings attached to it. And there is an opportunity cost, an amazing opportunity cost for whatever free money you think you're getting. The result is you're losing more than you're ever gaining.
For example, let's say that your employer matches 100% of your contributions up to 4% of your income. If you make $100,000 a year, when you contribute $4,000 into your 401k, your employer matches you dollar for dollar another $4,000. You're essentially making a 100% return on your investment instantly. There's not an investment in the world that offers risk-free returns like that. The stock market doesn't, rental property doesn't, and even a lucky streak in Las Vegas can't compete.
Well, I like that he compared the 401k to a lucky streak in Vegas, because that's now where your money's parked, my friends.
Benefits manager if they have an employer match and how it works, and take full advantage of an employer matching contributions. A quick note, if you don't plan on staying at your company for too long, make sure to ask about the vesting schedule. The vesting schedule will tell you how long you have to stay at the company in order to keep the employer's matching contributions.
That is a good point. Not that I would ever encourage you to try to get a 401k match, but be very, very cognizant of that. Most of these 401k matches have a pretty distanced investing schedule. So whatever you think your free money is, if you don't stay with your employer, you're gonna lose it anyway. But the entire problem with step number 2 is you've set up your emergency fund, now you're ready to step into the world of investing, and you've parked your money in the last possible place you would ever wanna park your money if you want to achieve financial freedom. So regardless of what good advice this is, it's the wrong advice for you if you want to master your money and be financially free.
Invested in a company match is around 3 years. Consider this when you're thinking about moving jobs. You want to be aware how much money you're leaving on the table by accepting a new position. Number 3 on our list is to get rid of high interest debt.
Okay, step number 3 now is high interest rate debts. Now, this is actually a good step here. This is a very good thing to understand. Now, it goes backwards a little bit, because if you have high interest rate debt, I'll just throw this out there really quick before we dive into a secret. Let's say you have high interest rate debt where you're paying 15, 20, 25, you can go as high as 29.99%. If you're paying a 15, 20, 29% return, and then you're putting your money in a 401k, the fastest way for you to get a 20% rate of return is get rid of that high interest rate debt. Rather than putting money in a 401k, get rid of the debt and then start your wealth building after that.
I would categorize high interest debt as anything more than 5%. For most people, this would include things like credit card or student loans. In my book, credit cards is one of the worst high interest debt, given the average credit card carries a 16% interest rate. If you have credit card debt that you've been carrying month to month, this is where you want to start with your debt reduction plan. There is no easy way to knock down high interest debt except to just do it. List out all your high interest debts and create a plan for getting rid of them. You can use the debt snowball method or the avalanche method, whichever one that best motivates you. Once high interest debt is knocked out, you'll be amazed at how much income you have available to optimize the rest of your finances. All right, once your high interest debts are paid down, the next on our list
Step number 4. Step number 4, just continue to put more money in the Wall Street casino. Now you're gonna max out a Roth IRA.
In a nutshell, with a Roth IRA, contributions are made on after-tax basis, but any growth is tax-free. Of course, there are conditions such as needing to leave the money in your Roth IRA account for at least 5 years, and you have reached the age of 59 and a half. However, what is amazing about the money in a Roth IRA is that you'll never need to pay taxes on it, ever. We don't know what the tax landscape will look like.
Again, same advice as step number 2. Yeah, you might get a better tax advantage with a Roth IRA, but it still begs to question, is your money in the right vehicle to achieve financial freedom to begin with? And if you're playing the Wall Street game, my friends, again, go check out some of the other videos where we talk about that. You're in the wrong vehicle. You'll never actually become financially free. Now, the crazy part about this is step number 2 was max out your 401k, get the free money, which isn't really free. Step number 4 is now, just because the 401k isn't working and it's not enough, now put more money to a problem that is already there and it's not working. So it's just compounding your problem rather than solving your problem.
Tax landscape will look like in the future. A new politician might decide that he or she needs to raise taxes to fund big government projects. When you contribute to a
bringing on a really good point. If your money is tax deferred, that's a major liability, my friends.
There are some eligibility considerations to a Roth IRA. In order to contribute directly to a Roth IRA, you or your spouse must have earned income, but not too much. In 2023, if your married filing jointly combined income exceeds $214,000, you're ineligible to make direct Roth IRA contributions.
Isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy? If you're penalized for having a good income, you're penalized for playing the game and winning the game by not having the ability to eliminate taxes in the future. Go watch some of our videos on the vault where you can, no matter how much you're making, you can put as much money as you want into a tax-free vehicle. Again, it's the wrong tool, even though he's making some good points.
But if your income is too high to contribute directly to a Roth IRA, consider the backdoor Roth IRA strategy. I have a whole video here that walks you through step by step. In 2023, the contribution limit for anybody under the age of 50 is $6,500. If you're age 50 or older, the contribution limit is $7,500. The number 5 on our list is take advantage of health savings account, also known as HSA. Now, this may not be
okay, not that this is a bad option. I mean, it's just the order of operations that he's giving you. He's giving you the optimal order for investing your money. This is the optimal order for average. This is the optimal order for getting an average return for an average investor who's experiencing an average retirement that will likely never come to fruition. So, my friends, everything here is average. You're watching this channel because you're trying to pursue extraordinary, which is the antithesis, the opposite of average. You're watching this video and this is average advice. 97% of the advice given about money is all limited by the constraint of average. This is yet another example. Although it's not bad, it is more average advice for average people seeking average returns. And my friends, if you're here for the first time, you're probably used to hearing small advice for average people. The 401k, backdoor Roth IRAs, the health savings accounts. My friends, all of these things are such trivial things that they'll make incremental, small improvements to an average plan. We are here to help you see the possibility of extraordinary financial results. And when you pursue what we talk about in the passive income machine and all of the other tools that the wealthy actually use, then things like this, the 401k, the backdoor Roth IRA, the health savings account, those are so trivial that they don't even show up on your radar. You eliminate these from your attention and you focus on the things that give you exponential results versus scraping for a little incremental return.
For everyone, since in order to contribute to an HSA, you need to be eligible to do so. You must be covered under a qualified high deductible health plan, HDHP, before you can contribute to an HSA. However, if you do qualify, this is a great way to save money for future health-related expenses. HSAs offer what's known as triple tax benefit. Your contributions are tax deductible, your money grows tax deferred while in the HSA, and you can withdraw money from your HSA tax-free as long as it's used to pay for qualified medical expenses.
Again,
if you'd like to learn more, I have a whole video here where I delve deeper.
But he's
if your
missing
qualified
the
high
big
deductible
picture.
health plan is for yourself only, you can contribute up to $3,850 in 2023. If your qualified high deductible health plan is a family health insurance plan, you can contribute up to $7,750 in 2023. If you're age 55 or older, you can contribute an additional $1,000. The number 6 on our list is the 529 education.
Step number 6. We're back to average again, my friends. Now, not only are you experiencing average financial results with your 401k, your Roth IRA, your health savings account, now you're going to expose your kids and their college future to another average plan governed by the constraints of markets, taxes, and limited ability to access your capital. Let's go into it.
Looking to save money for your children's future college? 529 Education Savings Plan offers a great...
How about questioning whether or not college is even worth it anymore for your kids, rather than just blindly saving for it?
For education expenses. Contributions are made on after-tax basis, but growth is not subject to federal tax and oftentimes state tax as well when used for qualified education expenses. 529 plans do not have annual contribution limits. However, contributions to a 529 plans are considered completed gifts for federal tax purposes, and in 2023, up to $17,000 per donor per beneficiary qualifies for the annual gift tax exclusion. Personally, I don't want my kids to think I'm going to cover their college tuition 100%.
Again, good information, completely missing the
If
points.
we're creative, there are tons of different ways to effectively fund college. I personally had my college paid for by the US Army, and my wife had her nursing degree paid for by her future employer. So though I like to have the 529 education savings plan as an option, I don't want my kids to completely depend upon it.
Okay, step 1, before you consider diverting money into a college savings plan, you have to ensure that your money, your resources, are being saved in such a way that you're on track to achieve financial freedom in a time frame that's relevant to you. If you're not on track to doing that, the last thing you want to do is divert funds that could be allocated to that goal to a completely different goal. Okay, so let's dive back in and see the next step.
All right, the number 7 on our list
Number
brings
7.
us back to 401k.
Ah,
But this time,
I
not
can't
just
even
for the
believe
match,
it.
but to
My
completely
friends,
max it out.
this
Just
is
because we're
crazy.
taking full
Every
advantage of your
single
employer match
investment
doesn't
that
mean
you're...
we
I'll pause it. Just again, just tell you, again, point this out. Every single point that has been given in this video is constrained by the laws of average. The vehicles inside of this recommended order of wealth will do nothing more than give you an average pathway to whatever your future is going to look like. If you're spending your time, your effort, and your energy watching videos, I know this about you. You know it about yourself. You're not pursuing average. All of these tools are geared towards average. Let's see what it is though.
doesn't mean we can contribute more money
To the 401k.
This is one of the most effective ways to lower our taxable income and put...
Okay, so here's where I gotta point this out really quick. And I can't remember what step it was, but when he told you about the Roth IRA, one of the risks that he mentioned in the Roth IRA is what if taxes go up? Like politicians are running a treadmill where it's likely taxes will have to go up, but now he's telling you to defer more taxes. So do you see how that advice is contrary to itself? Why, if you think taxes are gonna go up, why would you defer more taxes?
More money into the market. I have personally saved thousands of dollars per year on my taxes just from maxing out my 401k. In 2023, the contribution limit for anybody under the age of 50 is $22,500. If you're age 50 or older, the contribution limit...
Okay, again, very carefully, let's understand that language. He just said he's personally saved thousands of dollars by maxing out his 401k, but he hasn't actually saved that money. He's deferred his tax liability. He's just shifted it from paying it today to paying it tomorrow.
It is $30,000. Number 8 on our list is now the taxable account. Once you've maxed out all your tax advantage options when it comes to your investment, you can start investing additional money into a regular taxable investment account. I talked to a lot of people who are excited to jump into the market, and oftentimes they're opening up taxable brokerage accounts way before they've maxed out all their tax advantage accounts. But this should be your last priority since you don't get any tax advantage when you use...
Okay, again, so on this step number 8, everything you're doing outside of, eliminating high interest rate credit cards is all associated and all correlated with the market. And when he talked about you've maximized your tax advantage accounts, all you've done is you've put a little bit of money in a tax-free account, you've shifted the rest of your money into a tax-deferred account, now you're gonna put your money in the market where you're taxed on your gains as you go. Again, every dollar is now associated with the market so far in this glide path to financial freedom.
Taxable accounts. The tax drag from using taxable accounts instead of tax advantage accounts like a 401k can be significant, especially when compounding over decades. Tax advantages like tax deductions allow more of your money to get work for you sooner in the market, and therefore greater growth in the long run. Why pay more in taxes than you need to? And make sure you're also following the index fund strategy when it comes to your taxable accounts. Individual stocks and mutual fund picking is a loser's game, and you are a winner. Number 9 on our list is where you can tackle lower interest debt. And I would say lower interest debt are debts with interest rates lower than 5%. Most often this would include low-rate student loans and most car loans, but not include most mortgages.
Okay, so now we're back to order number 9, and again, the only solution given up to this point is knock out interest rate credit cards. Now we're gonna knock out lower interest rate credit cards and allocate everything to the market. That's it. That's all you've been given.
Even though from a financial perspective, this debt may not be hurting you as much, I would still recommend getting rid of it if you have the means to do so. Debt is quite an interesting concept. It is touted by some as a way to achieve the American dream. Others say it's a devil and should be avoided at all costs. My personal perception is this: never let our guard down around debt because it has a way of easily...
Again, I'm gonna kind of point this caveat back out just like we did for the college savings. If you're not on track to become financially free in a time frame that's relevant and you don't have complete certainty in what you're doing, then before you're knocking out low interest rate debt, that's where your capital needs to go. You need to make sure you're going to be financially free in a time frame that's relevant. And again, this is one of the biggest challenges with the market. It's all a guessing game. You have no idea whether or not you're on track or off track, whether or not it's gonna work or you're going to fall short. So again, it's guessing, and now we're gonna knock out low interest rate credit cards as part of this path.
Warping our perception about money. When we accept debt as a normal way of life, it can quickly cascade into a borderline dangerous mindset of justification. We can start to fund an elevated lifestyle without low interest debt, buying cars we don't need, getting student loans for a degree that won't advance our career. If at all possible, get rid of as much debt from our lives. You're not only taking care of your financial well-being, but your mental and emotional well-being as well.
Okay, that's a very good point about debt. I'm not gonna talk too much about that, but I do really like that point. There is an emotional advantage to having low debt on the consumer side for sure. That is a version of freedom. So I like that he brought that up. There's an emotional, I call it a return on your attention. So even though a return on investment I might show you this is a better return on investment, you've always gotta balance that out with what's the right thing for you to do. What's the return on attention that you're looking for as well. All right, number 10,
on our list
here we
is,
go.
I personally believe optional,
Pay off
but
our
a
mortgage.
valid way to deploy your money.
All right, I'm just gonna stop the video right there because this is the last step on the 10th step. And I want you guys to realize, as I gave you this reaction, every single step out of all 10 steps was pay off interest rates, don't go into debt, pay off interest rate debts, credit cards, mortgages, student loans, all of that, and allocate everything to the market. That was the entire advice given. It doesn't matter whether it's going to a 401k or a Roth IRA, an HSA or anything like that. Every piece of advice was get rid of credit cards, get rid of debt, and put everything in the market. My friends, this is why we have such a monumental financial retirement problem. It's a crisis right now. Most people are dramatically, massively underprepared for retirement because they've been following advice just like this. Now, I'm gonna give this individual an overall grade. I think it was authentic. I think he was doing his very best job. I think he was using his lens and his perception in the world of money, but nonetheless, it was still average advice geared towards helping people get an average outcome. That's not you. The grade I'm gonna give on this is C+. And the reason I'm gonna give it a C+, that's a pretty average grade, right? That's a pretty average grade. But you, my friends, are above average. You, my friends, are pursuing extraordinary. That's what money mastery is. Unless it's an A, then just eliminate all of the distractions. This is C+ advice. It shouldn't even be hitting your radar. I hope this video helped expand your perception and possibility of what you can do with money. Go ahead and take a moment and watch one of the videos in the queue to continue to expand your money mastery. Hey, you made it to the end of the video. You must care about your money and your ability to retire. So subscribe, watch another video, and stay on the channel so we can help you make even more money and retire even faster. We'll see you on the next one.